Now calling to order the Hialeah City Council meeting of October 11, 2022 at 7:12 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Calvo?
Present.
Ms. Casal Munoz is absent. Ms. Garcia Robes?
Present.
Ms. Perez?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Mr. Tundidor is absent. Mr. Zogby?
Present.
Mr. President, you have enough members to conduct business.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you lead us in the invocation, please?
Lord, we ask for your continued blessing upon our city. We ask that you grant the members of this council wisdom and understanding in every decision they face. Amen.
Thank you. Councilman Calvo, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, could you kindly read the meeting guidelines for tonight?
The following guidelines have been established by the City Council. All lobbyists must register with the city clerk. As a courtesy to others, please refrain from using cellular telephones or other similar electronic devices in the council chamber. A maximum of 3 speakers in favor and 3 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the council on any one item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No signs or placards in support of or in opposition to an item or speaker shall be permitted within the council chamber. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on matters of public concern or on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may address the City Council on any item pertaining to city business during the comments and questions portion of the meeting. A member of the public is limited to 1 appearance before the City Council, and the speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The public can view public meetings on the city's YouTube page. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 6 is presentations. Madam Clerk, can you read item A, and then we'll bring the presenter up.
Big check presentation by Miami-Dade County Commissioner Rene Garcia to the city of Hialeah of the allocation of $50,000 of XTX Arena monies from Miami-Dade County District 13 for the Early Prevention and Intervention Youth Program, EPI.
Thank you. Senator, Commissioner, there you are. Great. Thank you, sir. We have the big check, do we?
Yes.
You have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Mr. President and Mr. Mayor and City Council members, it's always great to see you all and be back in Hialeah. Well, I've never left Hialeah, but be back here in the city, in City Hall, doing this presentation. The EPI program, the youth program for early intervention, is a program that has been around for decades, making sure that we help the most vulnerable students or children in our community. And here in the city of Hialeah, through our Parks program, Parks Director, Mr. Sanchez, come up here. Our new Parks Director, Mr. Sanchez, is doing a phenomenal job.
He bought a new jacket for the occasion. Thank you, Willie.
Doing a phenomenal job. And when we sat together and with the mayor, he asked for some help. And this is where a little bit of help that we can do to make sure that we help these children succeed in life. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for your commitment to the park system. I'm a product of the park system. Thank God for the parks. This is why I am where I am today, because of the great park system that we have. And there's no reason why, Councilman Rodriguez, you too are a product of the park system. And I think Mr. Councilman Tundidor is as well. Not sure, Calvo, if you're part of the... Okay, so we are part of the park system. But anyway, so that saved us. It's definitely saved me. And there's no reason why we can't bring the parks of Hialeah back to the glory of yesterday. So I am committed to making sure, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council President, and council members, to do my part from the County Commission office, and whatever funds we have, that we reallocate those dollars to make sure they come into the city of Hialeah to ensure that we continue to help and grow the park system that we have here. And with this park director, Willie Sanchez, it's been an honor to work with you, and I look forward to the great things that could come from you for the betterment of the youth of this community. So, Mr. Mayor, may not be a real big check, Mr. Council President, but it's a medium-sized check.
Wonderful.
I'm happy to present this from Miami-Dade County for $50,000, and there's more to come. This is just the beginning. So, thank you very much.
We'll go down, sir. Right? We'll go down. I want to hold on to that check. Did you want to say something about that? Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. What happened?
Through the chair,
Yes, Mayor. Mhm.
just want to again thank Senator Garcia. He's always ready to help the city in all the different capacities that he's occupied, not just as a city council, obviously, but as a state representative, a state senator, and now on the Board of County Commission. He always puts Hialeah first, and that's extremely important. We appreciate that you haven't lost your way, and that you're always welcome in this home.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you read item B on the presentations, please?
The City of Hialeah recognizes employee George Fuente, Chief of Police, for 25 years of service to the city.
You need the light?
No, I'm good.
Is he here? Is he here?
Thank you. Council, if you could join me down here and in honoring our chief, who's been here since the age of like 7 or something like that.
Because it always sticks out.
Thank you. It's a blessing to be here, obviously today, and this gentleman got this opportunity. 25 years has gone by real quick. I look forward to being here many more. Right now, the position that I represent, the five men and women of our police department that they do an amazing job in taking care of our citizens. So I thank the elected officials, I thank the mayor, a lot of directors of the city for their support of our agency. And we got a couple more. So George did 25 years, which in today, that makes him the baby of the bunch. We have others that we want to also honor. So we have others that we want to honor for 30 years.
She was not able to make it today, but she's been with the city for 46 years.
Reginald Gay.
Reginald Mayer is 42 years with the city.
Another testament that we hire folks at the age of 15 violating some law or something. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening. When I started this job 43 years ago, there were kids getting hit on 8th Avenue and 25th Street. A lot of kids was getting hit there. And I made a promise to myself, I will not let another kid get hit on that block. No way. I made a promise to myself to that. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you. Chief Care, if you could, yeah, you come up. No, you're not a recipient. I mean, just come on up here. So we have another group of employees that are, I guess, 30-year plus, no?
30 plus.
30 plus, okay. Anthony Carnival? Oh, Tony's not here today, okay, so we'll, how many years has Tony been with us?
I have the list.
30?
30.
Yeah, Jen. Okay. All right, then, the next one is Carlos Pereira Jr. Carlos.
I just I feel blessed, lucky. In January I'll be here 37 years, and I feel like a young kid. I love my job and just feel lucky and blessed. Thank you.
We also have Mario Pico, who's not here today, and we'll make sure that Carl will deliver his, yeah. Alfred Espirella. Fred.
Here you go, Willie. No, thank you very much. I appreciate the recognition. It's really been 34 years, but it seems like it's flown by like nothing. I've worked with a great number of men and women in this department, and everybody's been great throughout the 34 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Simpson.
Well, it's been a great ride. I'm going to retire in January, and it's been a pleasure serving the people of Hialeah. Been a blast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Horacio Gomez.
I want to thank everybody. I too am a product of Parks and Recreation of City of Hialeah, Babcock Park, representing. It's been a pleasure to serve the citizens of this community. My parents lived here all their life, and it's always been an honor to serve the city. And I'm glad to have you back in the city too, sir. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Colin McDonald. He's in Georgia with his family. Okay. And then Denise Guillen.
He's a turkey.
Okay, then thank you. Thank you. Go to Turkey, Chief. Thank you. Appreciate yeah. We don't need him. Okay. And then last but not least, do we have somebody from Fleet here? Yeah, but some supervisor from Fleet. Dale, ven para acá. And a 30-year plus? 32 years, all right. George Miller, come on down.
Folks, all I can say is what a great city to work for. I've spent the majority of my time out of the fleet department with a great group of guys. Got a good superintendent here. True story real fast. My actual first day to hire, I didn't show up. Only because there was a communication issue between HR and my house. But a true story. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, and I was just speaking for the council. You know, this is a real nice gesture that we've undertaken here, recognizing folks that have been working for our city for so long. And we've said this before, that you know everything here is brick and mortar, right? It's the people that ultimately are the ones that provide the service. The interaction that residents have with our employees really is that interaction is the city. This is the city. It's everything else is like I said, brick and mortar, but it's the vibe, it's the soul of people that provide the service, and we appreciate the longevity. We appreciate the investment in our city, and on behalf of the residents of the city of Hialeah, we appreciate you and thank you. Thank you all for your service to our great, great city. God bless you all. Oh, if there are family members that want to come up and take pictures with the recipients, come on, come on. Let's go, sin pena.
Okay. It's being handled. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We are done with the presentations. We are on item 7, comments and questions. This is where we allow comments and questions from the public, the audience. Having none, I'm just Ambrosio. Come on up. I was just trying to scare you. Come on up. Sir, although we know each other for many years, I need your name and if your wife is going to speak, your name and your address for the record.
Definitely.
And then you've got up to 3 minutes. That's fine. That is fine. Go ahead, sir. Name and address for the record.
Carlos Ambrosio Rodriguez, 51 East 42nd Street, Hialeah, 33013.
Thank you, sir.
And this is my wife, Maria. The reason why I'm here tonight, I'd like to thank the Mayor Bobo and the City Councilman. I was told that, we're having a problem next door to us, the parking lot from
41
East 42nd Street, which is a parking lot for Cano Health Clinic now. I was told, hey, why don't you call the mayor's office and see if you can get an appointment, a small appointment with he's doing it so he can tell what the problem is. Okay, I think I called. I talk to Marisa all the time. I think I called 4 times. Jenny, is she still working for the city?
Yes, sir.
She hasn't called me 4 months. I also try to call and say, why don't you call the executive assistant, Mark Gomez? I called him twice. I didn't call either. Then I went upstairs because I had to do something at the city. And I went upstairs. I talked to Marisa. And I said, no, Gomez is not here and Jenny's busy. Okay, that was it. Let me start with our problem. Okay, that's the reason why we're here. Yeah, illegal parking lot at 41 East 42nd Street, Hialeah. Started with Belen Clinic since 2017. That's 5 years ago. We have been dealing with this situation. Cano Health was in co-ownership with Belen maybe 2 years after that. And now officially it's owned by Cano Health. Now, the parking was approved by the city council in November 9th, 2021, before the mayor was elected. So they did a deal so they can get, well, anyways, the next month it will be 1 year and no permit has been requested to start construction. I guess since there's no consequences, why do anything about it? Now, Belen and Cano Health have never cared about the neighborhood and the strain and the excessive difficulty we're living under. All right? Every day, the dirty side of empty lot used by the employees, you have masks. Well, I do have photos. My wife can take them up there and just, you can see it.
Maria, dáselo ahí mira, esta muchacha, Bridget. Thank you, Maria.
Okay, there's used by the employees, masks, water bottles, food, lunch boxes, and also the security was there, told me there was also some condoms left because people at night use the parking lot since it's open. Yeah, in the weekend, people park cars in the legal lot. No security on weekends. No gates will be closed into the lot. And every morning, before I have breakfast, I have to go outside and check to make sure the cars are not parked against our fence. As many have done through the years, there are photos that are there that you can see them, all right? Employees lock the doors continuously. They only, since they've been break-ins into the autos, they click, 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 click all, like 5 times before they go into out of the parking lot. And they go driving in with blasting music. I mean, we're elderly and we like to sleep in the morning. No consideration to anyone in the neighborhood. Now, Cano Health has not requested for a permit for 41 East 42nd Street, but they have started to build a new site. Have you all seen it? West 12th Avenue between 42nd and 44th Street. They keep sponsoring all kinds of events for the city of Hialeah, which is great. The city deserves that. Also sponsoring shows for commercials, Mega TV and America TV. They have funds for all of this and more, but not to build the parking lot. 5 years. In a Cano Health commercial, Dr. Marlowe recently has come to the commercial, has stated that the number one killer in the United States is a heart attack. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I am 76 years old, and I do have a heart problem. And I do hope that this horrible situation that we have been dealing for the past 5 years doesn't affect me more than now. We're hoping that the city of Hialeah will do something soon. I know about this special master going on forth that they've been telling me all through the years, and nothing has been done about that. Now, during the campaign, Mayor Bobo was visiting visited the neighborhood on 42nd Street, and me and my wife, as he was walking, we were in the car, we stopped him and say hello. And he said, yeah, we'll be sure we both you. And we told him, hey, see the problem that we're having? He said, he will be taking care of the problem. And I know I don't know what else can we do than come to you and say, it's been, again, I keep repeating myself, 5 years. How long does it take for them to build a parking lot, which was approved by the council back in November?
You're 100% correct, sir. Maria, could you have yielded, if it's the same thing, could you have yielded your time to him so we don't extend it? Okay, you're 100% correct. I'm a witness that what you're saying is 100% accurate. The can has been kicked down the road for 5 years. We know that recently they were set before the special master in August. The case was dismissed because the representative showed the special master evidence that he had a land use change, a zoning change to a parking lot, but that doesn't mean they can use it yet because it's unpermitted and unimproved. We know that there's no wall, it's not paved, it's not filled in. And I know that Alex Riveron spoke to you today, right? Mayor, Mr. Riveron, the building official, is completely aware of how long this has been going on. He's been trying his best so far, and now he knows what went on in August. So he quickly is going to move on a violation for them using, is my understanding, right, Mr. Riveron? Because they are currently using it unlawfully as an unimproved, unpermitted parking lot at 41 East. So we're going to move on that, right? Violate, and then again, an appearance, set them for appearance in the special master again, right, sir? Go ahead.
And there's another thing, if you can see in the pictures, there's been a hole.
Sinkholes.
The sinkhole.
Yes, they do.
Now it's getting bigger. What they do is just put rocks in it.
That's not safe.
That is not fixing it at
No.
all. And it's coming over to my house.
We got, in fact, Councilman Tundidor, if you remember, when we campaigned together, we had the neighbors there complaining. You're not the only one. We had neighbors across the street. And we told them the same thing, that we were going to make a concerted effort to get that taken care of. So we apologize. We apologize to you and all the neighbors.
We did make a police report back in 2018. It's in the pictures there. So, because we had to do something because I knew they were doing it illegally. And then I came over to the city and they said, no, there's no permits. That's why I called the police. And
We have to start now, unfortunately, from square one, but we're not going to delay it, right, Mr. Rivera? We're going to start because now we have to violate them for an unpermitted parking lot, but we're not going to this time slow it down. Mayor, did you want to add something, sir?
Yeah. First of all, let me apologize if nobody in my office responded. That's unacceptable. And it's not something that I would expect from the folks that work with me. So they should have responded, okay? And before you leave here, you're going to have my cell phone number, so you don't have to go through people to speak to me. You shouldn't have to in the first place. I remember exactly the conversation that we had, and I remember you making me aware of the parking situation there. I'm going to look at other remedies, not just the code enforcement remedies of what we could do. Because if the parking area is illegal and it's being used, then we're going to have to stop it, and we're going to have to stop that immediately. I'll get together with the chief now after this meeting to discuss strategies on how we could make sure people understand that we're serious about this. Whatever they need to do to go through the process, they better expedite it and get it done already. But I do remember, and I apologize that it's taken you so long to get to me. It should have never been like that,
No, That's
ever.
why we came, because, we wanted,
Thank you. And I need to recognize Ambrosio, Carlos Ambrosio. We worked together. He's a 25-year veteran of the police department, retired, and his wife Maria is, I don't want to say how many years because I'll date you, but a retired public school teacher, right? Wonderful, old, vintage residents of Hialeah, and I love having you as friends.
we bought this house in 1970.
Wow.
We've been there 52 years.
Wow. God bless you.
Through
God
the
bless
chair,
you.
through the
Yes,
chair.
sir. Yes, sir.
I just have a question, maybe for Deborah, but so is this property zoned parking? It is? Okay. Yeah, but, right, okay,
Right
Yeah.
now, it's just an empty lot.
right.
Yes.
And just for my understanding, so,
Oh, yeah, I know.
yeah, it's a Deborah, it's a Deborah.
Deborah,
They came for the land use, they came for the zoning, but
They never permitted the parking lot
Never
or
put the parking-
finished
So,
it.
so,
Yeah.
so they didn't throw any, Deborah, they didn't throw any asphalt on this?
Nothing.
It's just, yeah. And just from my understanding, once the change in land use happens, do they have a certain time period before they make it a parking lot?
Just
or-
can't use it.
there's no time that they shouldn't be using.
Shouldn't use it.
Most
Okay.
likely, I haven't looked in the property appraisal, but most likely it appears as vacant land and they.
It's still
taxes
vacant
as
land.
vacant
Right, so even though they have the land use for parking, I just want to be very clear. So even though they have the land use for parking, they have to put the asphalt in it to make it an appropriate parking lot to use it as parking, correct?
Exactly.
And if they're
Yes.
doing otherwise, which is what they're doing today, it's illegal.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be clear. Okay, thank you.
What do you want him to see before you leave? Carlos and Maria, go, please, when you leave, see the gentleman in the beard and the young lady there with them before you leave, okay? Have a fantastic night. Thank you, both of
I
you.
don't understand how people can go to the clinic when the parking lot and everything
It's
that is
embarrassing.
outside, it is full of garbage.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Yes,
Okay. good night.
thank you. God bless
I don't
you.
know what's inside that clinic, but I'm not going inside that clinic.
Okay, anyone else? Comments and questions? Anyone else? Having none other, Madam Clerk, item 8, please.
Administrative item 10A, PZ1 and PZ5 are postponed until October 25th, 2022. The add-on items are consent items W, X, Y, Z, AA, BB, and CC. And item 10C is withdrawn from the agenda as the ordinance was passed by the City Council on September 27th, 2022.
Thank you. Item 9 is consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything for discussion? It is certainly open to the public for discussion on the consent agenda or to pull an item and at the will of the council. Anyone on consent agenda? Otherwise, if there is no one, we have a motion from Councilman Luis Rodriguez on consent agenda.
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Garcia Rovez. Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Garcia Rovez?
Yes.
Ms. Perez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Motion carries. The consent agenda has passed.
Thank you. Moving right along to the admin part of the agenda. And I'm getting there. 10A is postponed. Madam Clerk, can you read item 10B of the administrative section into the record?
First reading of proposed ordinance amending Chapter 42 entitled Floods and Water Management for the purpose of ensuring compliance with the state's floodplain Management Model Ordinance and National Flood Insurance Program, repealing ordinances in conflict hereof, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for inclusion in code, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Item 10B is on first reading, not open for public discussion, but certainly open for the will of the council or discussion on item 10B.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, you are recognized. We have a motion. I have recognized your motion, but go on, Councilman Tundidor.
Yeah, if someone could give us a quick summary on this.
Building, is this a building item? Can you, Alex, are you prepared to? Thank you, sir. Name and address for the record.
Alexis Riveron, building official, City of Hialeah, 501 Palm Avenue. I would like to invite our consultant, Mike Gambino. To the
Nice
podium.
name.
Gambino?
Gambino.
Gambino.
Council, City
Good evening,
Attorney.
sir.
Yes, my name is Mike Gambino, Gambino. I reside at 1312 East Hawthorne Circle, Hollywood. And I'm a consultant to the city for their administration of the National Flood Insurance Program and Community Rating System rules and regulations. And the reason we're here is there was a slightly lenient code requirement that all the codes in pretty much the whole country have been enforcing that allowed some mobile homes, new mobile homes, or relocated mobile homes to not comply with the total elevation requirement under those rules. The main thing of the National Flood Insurance Program is Elevate. So the CRS people, that's the acronym for the CRS program, came to all the cities and said you have to remove that more lenient requirement. Now, just for those of you who don't know what the CRS is, it's a great incentive program for cities to participate in, where the better flood protection services you provide to your residents and businesses, you then earn discounts in the flood insurance policies issued to those residents and businesses. So right now, the city of Hialeah is a 7 in this program, a rating of 7, which realizes 15% discounts on all residents and businesses in flood hazard areas. So it's quite substantial. It's a win-win, and it's activities that the city already does for the most part, such as drainage, maintenance, preserving open spaces, and a wide variety of activities. So we had to amend the code. We did a minor revision, and then we cleaned up some old language, and that's why we're here.
Is this something that we've done before, Mike?
I've been consulting with the city for about 3 years, and I haven't seen it yet. This was a new requirement, only came up within the last 2 years about removing this mobile home minimum elevation.
So when we talk about mobile homes, Mayor, are we talking about what's on 16th Avenue between 16th and 12th? Or, yeah, is this? So how much are we paying for this?
Actually, this is a participatory program that we don't pay anything.
Okay, so we're not paying anything for it?
No.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Completely voluntary.
Because we've reduced the amount of mobile homes throughout the years, so,
Yes.
okay.
But there was this one little rule that kept, getting allowed to let them build a little lower, and CRS came down and said, we want everybody to
Okay,
remove
yeah,
that.
we're not gonna, okay, perfect. All right, second that motion.
Thank you, sir. We have a second. We have a first from Councilman Luis Rodriguez, and we have a second motion from Councilman Tundidor. Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Perez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tundidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for October 25th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Gambino.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did you acknowledge? You don't have to?
We called the roll.
No
Because he
problem.
got here during presentation, so I
Good.
didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please read item 10C into the record.
10C is withdrawn, sir.
Okay. Board appointments, I don't see any on the list. Nope.
None, sir.
Unfinished business? Anyone on the dais, unfinished business? Anyone on item 13, new business? We are ready to move into our planning and zoning section of the agenda. Madam Clerk, please do the formalities. Yes. Have a good night.
Will all those persons who will be testifying on an item please stand and raise your right hand?
Las personas que quisieran prestar sus opiniones delante de esta junta, por favor pónganse de pie y alcen la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
Usted jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad, toda la verdad y únicamente la verdad y que Dios sea su testigo. Por favor diga que sí si la respuesta es afirmativa.
Let the record reflect that all have responded in the affirmative.
En el archivo público constará que todos han respondido afirmativamente.
Thank you all. You may be seated. You're already seated. PZ1 is postponed until October 25th, Madam Clerk? Can you-
Correct.
Thank
Yes, sir.
you. Can you read PZ2 into the record?
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from RO Residential Office to RO Residential Office, incorporating a site plan as required by Section 98-784 of the City of Hialeah Code of Ordinances. Property located at 260 Hialeah Drive, Hialeah, zoned RO Residential Office. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. PZ2 is on second reading, open for public hearing or public discussion. Having none that I see, pleasure of, are you here for PZ2, sir? Okay, you want to stand by in case we need you? Does anybody have any questions? Is anybody prepared to vote? Motion from Councilman Luis Rodriguez on PZ2. Second from Councilwoman Garcia Rovez. Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tundidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Rovez?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. PZ3, Madam Clerk, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from C1 Restricted Retail Commercial District to C3 Extended Liberal Commercial District to allow a proposed expansion of the adjacent gas station and convenience store, property located at 336 West 9th Street, Hialeah, Zone C1, Restricted Retail Commercial District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. PZ3 is on second reading, open for public discussion. It is a public hearing. Having none, pleasure of the council on PZ3.
One motion again, guys.
Motion from Councilman Luis
Second.
Rodriguez and second from Councilman Calvo. Was that you, sir?
Yes.
Sir. Call the roll.
Mr. Tundidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Rovez?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, PZ4, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Section 98-181, to allow the expansion of the footprint of a 276-bed skilled nursing facility with a distance separation of less than 500 feet from single-family homes and less than 1,200 feet from another existing similar facility. Granting a variance permit to allow the expansion of the footprint of a legal non-conforming use for the redevelopment of an existing senior living facility, currently having 100 assisted living facility beds and 276 skilled nursing beds. Properties located at 195 West 27th Street, 141 West 27th Street, 130, 140, 150, and 160 West 28th Street, Hialeah zoned R3 Multiple Family District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, good evening, Javi.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members. Real quick, Javi Vasquez, 1450 Brickell Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant. Last piece of this moving application that started with a land use designation, CUP now, second reading. We respectfully request your approval. The only thing I wanted to mention for the record, which I promised the attorney's office that we would do, is our declaration of restriction, which is also always required with the CUPs, is in place, is signed together with the opinions of title. A joinder from the mortgagee is pending. We should have that before the end of the week, and we will have that to Lorena before the end of the week.
That's not uncommon, right? We can, an arrangement like that.
We've got,
Nice.
we're good.
Good, we'll work with you. Thank you, Javi. Pleasure of the council. We have a motion.
Second.
Yes, I did. I did, right? Public discussion, having none, we have a motion from Councilman Calvo
Second.
and a second from Councilwoman Garcia Robes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Tunidor.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you. On behalf of
Thank you,
Millennium
sir.
and Mr. Menendez, who's
Thank you,
been here
sir.
Every step of the way, we thank you.
Thank you. Both of you have a good night. PZ 5, Madam Clerk. Oh,
Yeah,
no, postponed.
Mhm.
Thank you. PZ 6, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance rezoning properties from R1 One Family District to R33 Multiple Family District, granting a special use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Section 98-1630.8, to allow the expansion of the NBD overlay district, and granting a variance permit to allow only residential uses where a mixed use is required. Allow front setback of 3 feet fronting East 6th Avenue, 7.25 feet fronting East 26th Street, and 9.16 feet fronting East 27th Street, where 10 feet built to line are required. Allow a 10-foot interior side setback where 15 feet are required. Allow 26.2% pervious area where 30% pervious area is the minimum required. And allow 56 parking spaces where 63 parking spaces are required. All contrary to sections 98-1630.1, 98-1630.3, subsection E1, 98-590, 98-2056, subsection B1, and 98-2189, subsection 16A. Properties located at 585 East 26th Street, 591 East 26th Street, and 595 East 26th Street. Folio number 04310800012570 and 04310800012580. Hialeah zoned R1 One Family District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. PZ 6 is on first reading, not open for public discussion, and there is no company representative. The architect is not here. This is a Leon, but you can, yes, ma'am, please. Yeah, Manny? Mhm. Yes, away, yes. So this is not going to be part of the Leon conglomerate as far as major institution. This is going to actually be residential, medium density apartments. Yeah. Yes.
And the property belongs to Leon.
Yes.
That's what is the owner, and what he wants to do is to build here apartments.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone have?
Story, very, like, it goes very well. It blends very well with the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, you
you.
said two-story?
This one is.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, what type of housing is this gonna be? Right, is this workforce housing? Is this affordable housing? Is this market housing? Market. So the thing is that I see here that 561 doesn't belong to them. And 561 is a single family home, and then you go down the block here. I have what I'm looking at here. Those are the renderings?
Yeah, those are the.
Yeah. So, because then we have some vacant, so we have some single-family homes in the back.
He's referring to the radius, right, as far as the density in the
I'm looking at
neighborhood.
what's
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
True, but it's across the street from the hospital.
Institution.
And parking from the hospital, and it had the land use of major institution. So they changed it to medium density, and the use will be less intense than if you have there an institutional use. Because the hospital could come there and do an expansion of the hospital or a parking lot.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable if Mr. Manny was here present. So I'd like to table this item. I'd like to move to table this item and then have Mr. Ruse here to answer some of our questions.
Duly noted. We have a motion to table this item from Councilman Tundidor. Anybody? Mr. Rodriguez, did you want to? Oh, okay. You want to second that? Anyone else? We ready to call the roll, I guess, ma'am?
Sir, is your motion to table till the next meeting?
For the next meeting, yeah.
Did you let Manny know if you can contact them to please show up to the next? Okay, okay.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is tabled until October 25th, 2022.
Thank you. PZ 7, please, Madam Clerk.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay for the development of a 58-unit multifamily mixed-use building pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Section 98-1630.8, granting a variance permit to allow all residential units with areas ranging from 523 square feet to 728 square feet, where 850 square feet is the minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area of 600 square feet. Allow 5.5 feet front setback for staircase, where 10 feet built-to line are required. Allow 18% pervious area, where 30% is the minimum required, and parking variance to allow 160 parking spaces, where 266 are required. All contrary to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Sections 98-1630.2, 98-1630.3, subsection E1, 98-2056, subsection B1, and 98-2189, subsection 16A. Property located at 8155 West 12th Avenue, Hialeah, Zone C1, Restricted Retail Commercial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. PZ 7 is on first reading. I'm sorry. PZ 8 is 7. I'm sorry. I'm rushing through this. I must be hungry. PZ 7 is on first reading, not open for public discussion, but we do have the lobbyist Hugo Arza with us that can answer any questions. Or did you want to speak or just be ready for questions on PZ 7? Sir?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Do the math here real quick. Hold on.
I can see the parking has been mitigated.
So Hugo, so this property, what is it? How many acres is this?
Almost 2.78, 2.61, sorry.
And so we want to put 58 units on this.
We have there's a presentation with some renderings. I don't know if if it'll help. Yeah, 58 units, ground floor, commercial, retail. So it's a mixed use project.
58 units, ground floor, retail.
Right. The units are on the second and third floor. And all of it's now up on the screen. Obviously we're on the east side of 12th Avenue here. So we are next to, HML, a church, the park, the fields. So we're obviously the 3 stories is not next to anybody's. That's the current.
Okay. And so you're requesting 160 parking spaces. So that comes out to about 2.7 parking spots per unit. A couple things. So the 58 units, and shame on me, should have looked at this a little more, but out of the 58 units, everybody send me a pen. So out of the 58 units, Hugo, how many are, I got here, thank you.
What kind of pen do you have?
What do the units look like, Hugo? Okay.
Is that what you're trying to decide?
Yeah.
The breakdown? It's in the plans. I actually didn't bring my full plan.
Okay.
But
The 2-bedroom units get 2 parking spaces at a time, and the 1-bedroom units get 1 parking space at a time. 72 parking spaces will be occupied by the residential unit, and 82 parking spaces will be available for the retail, and there will be also 6 accessory
All right,
parking.
Bradley, Deborah, one second. So 58 units.
there are 14 2-bedroom units and 44 1-bedroom.
So 14 2-bedroom units. And then how many 1-bedroom?
28 spaces.
And so then we said we want 160, right? 160 total. All All right, so out of the 160, we're saying that 58 are going to be specific to the residential, right? And then the
72.
well, you okay, so 58 units, total 14 and 44, 72.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just need to excuse myself on this item.
Yeah, go ahead. So 72 units, I'm sorry, 72 parking spots. You're saying out of the 160.
And we made some, we also carved out, talked about limited restaurants we would have. Everybody likes to eat, but we understand that our traffic. There's a neighborhood retail, so we are confident in 90 parking spaces for the retail. And we commissioned the study, staff asked us to have a parking study done, which ULI, National Best Practices, Shared Parking Ratio, that's supported, because our parking, when it's available, we can manage it. We don't have to assign the spaces in a way in which they can't utilize. If we have a time during the day, for commercial use, that obviously the residents can out at work, whatever they're doing, we've got the flexibility to accommodate. So we did a shared parking study. That's the whole purpose behind this project, right? You sort of share, and any code has embedded in them shared parking criteria in which you get reduction for. The city does not have that, but we basically, in effect, show how that works by commissioning the study to look at it to get comfortable that the shared parking happens. But even if at the end of the day you segregate it and say 2 spaces for the 2 bedrooms, 1 space for the 1 bedroom, it would still be nearly 90 parking spaces for the commercial, even if you weren't sharing any of it. You would tend to, if you think that's the best practice. Why keep spaces empty? There's also parking in the rear. So what we intend to do, the way that the building's done, the building is not all the way flush to the east where the fields are. There's actually parking behind the building, and so we anticipate that parking will be a little less desirable for the commercial, but it makes perfect sense for residents because they can come and park. They're not worried about the frontage of a business, and they can park in that area. The site was designed with that.
Okay, so the problem that I have, Hugo, is that we're saying that we're going to have. So how many parking spots are we going to have for the 2 bedrooms? So for the 14 units, we're going to have 2 parking spots each. And then the rest are going to be 1 parking spot for 1 bedroom for the 44 units.
For the 44 units. And that's a sign. And again, the shared parking gives us some flexibility that, after hours when the commercial shut down or on weekends, when the commercial may not be open, it's going to be more parking for residents to have the flexibility of that guest over. That's kind of the.
So how do we control that? I mean, so because we don't have any visibility to what type of businesses we'll have in the mixed use, right?
Well,
So
we do. That's the point I got into. We've taken off no schools because we understand sort of the demand of both parking and the cars that come through. So there can be no schools. There can be a daycare, but no schools in the ground floor commercial. We've limited it to, I think it's 6,000 square feet of restaurants. We've said that we won't exceed about 22,000 square feet total. So it's not going to be entirely all restaurants. Because again, that does generate the entire part of it. So we've offered some commitment as to some of the uses that we're willing to exclude. I mean, we envision, more typical traditional retail uses that, might have a couple cars an hour coming in, whatever they may be, sort of flowing in and out. And also that isn't going to be open 24 hours. This is 24-hour commercial. That's where the shared parking system will have evenings and nights, when the retail, whatever it may be, closes, but maybe the restaurant opens till 10 o'clock at night, but it's the 3 neighbors it has next to it, our businesses are closed at 6 or 7, then, we've got, then there's nobody parking for those businesses. There is. So that's kind of the interplay with any mixed use project.
So the residential parking will be mixed with the commercial parking?
Well, no, probably, like I said, because we've got parking in the rear, we'll probably go ahead and designate as much as we can of the parking in the rear for the residents. Not as visible for the retail. You can probably appreciate retail wants parking, where people can see the store they're going to. So we'll put that parking in the rear. But then if they have guests or anyone coming extra to visit, they can park in the general parking that's
Right.
closer to 12.
So this is my concern with this at face value, right? We're at the infancy of this project, so we can have this discussion. My fear, I know you say we could put parking at the rear. I don't know how much parking we could put in the rear, right? Do you?
I can tell you exactly.
Okay,
There's a
tell
site
me, yeah.
plan. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
because there are variances. So just to remind all of you, I mean, we've been through the land use, so that the reason you've seen this now I'll be here for 6 meetings, I guess including P&Z, I'll be here for 6 meetings. So we've been through the land use process for this. And so, you saw many of these same graphics and general thought, but so there are 43 parking spaces in the rear. And then there's 24 on the south side, which are not as desirable, from a retail standpoint. Again, they're not the ones closest to 12th facing into the project.
So Deborah, give me those numbers again. How many in the rear?
43 and 24 is 77. I mean, almost to the number.
43 and 24, 67.
67. Why I'm a lawyer.
So there's 58. So there's 58 units, 67 parking spots between the rear and the side, and then the rest will be in the front.
Right, and then approximately.
So close to 100. Call it 93 or whatever it is, will be in the front.
In the front parking.
Yeah, in
And
the front
there's
parking.
if Bridget or somebody can move there's a visual that'll give you. I'll tell you. These are all just, there. So there you have it. So this is, obviously from 12th. And additionally, we've committed to improvements to 12th. Turn lanes into the property that were requested by the streets department. And we've also made a commitment to help improve the medians. So what you see there, apparently it doesn't look, I think the medians in that area there is a little want for care. So we were asked to do that, and we're more than happy to do that. But as you can see here, the parking field in front of the buildings, but then on the right side, so if you look basically, on the right side of the screen, that's the south side, that parking, and then behind the building, you can't see it. And certainly for second reading, I can have them, sort of turn this, it's just a program that can have them turn this into a graphic where you'll be able to see the parking in the rear. But I mean, there's a site plan that shows it. So I mean, obviously that's what the city will see.
So again, just again, I know we talked about the land use initially, and now we're talking about the zoning. They're two separate things, right? So I just want to make sure we're clear with that. But Hugo, my fear is, for example, we've had a lot of new things in Hialeah that have blown up, right? That it's great, right? La Romanita, one of them. Have a lot of folks go there. I don't even want to go during lunch anymore.
I was gonna
right?
say, I mean, since you name dropped, I mean, same developers.
Yes.
So the care that they take.
Absolutely.
They're Hialeah guys. They don't want to build anything that they are going to get a knock on their door, like, hey, this isn't working. Why?
Right. Absolutely. It could be the same developers or other developers, right? We have concerns, right? Yeah. But
it helps when it is the same one, right? Because it's a brand you can trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So my fear is the following, right? I'm glad you continue to follow my lead on this. So with La Romanita, we saw that it was something new, right? And because it was something new, we didn't know how it was going to be. And so we saw the rollout. We saw how it is. We saw that it's, by popular demand, you have so many folks there, right? So my fear is the following. My fear is that we have another Romanita, which could be great for the city, right? But then we see that restaurant, or whatever the case is open till late. We see that it occupies a lot of restaurants because of popular demand, right? And so my question is, what happens to the residential folks when they can't find parking? I know we're relying a lot on the parking, right, on the shared parking, but my concern is that, a restaurant runs till 12 o'clock at night, whatever, maybe 1, 2, I don't know, right? And so do they got to wait till that time to find parking? Do they got to go across the street and infiltrate the single family home areas for parking? So that's my concern. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's a valid concern. Parking is always critical. I think a couple things. I mean, I think one, we can, um, shared parking only needs to go so far. I mean, it can be that the parking is available during the day, let's say, when the residents wouldn't need it as much, especially during the week. I mean, even in post-COVID America, people do tend to still go to work. Many do. Some may work from home, but the majority are still, getting up and going to work. So, but we can institute, and certainly between first and second reading, we can institute some safeguards that after 5 or 6 or 7 p.m. and on the weekends, a set number of spaces have to be made available, and maybe those can be designated very simply. Like, for instance, it's a slightly different scenario, but in the city of Miami and the city of Coral Gables, I don't think your city does it. In both cases, you've got local parking. So there's places that only people who live on a particular street can only park there at night and on the weekends, and then it's open to others. We can do something similar. This is a private property. We're not talking about street parking, but we can do something similar. I mean, we could put up signs that say, parking for residents from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. and, set some time on the weekends, other times, available for retail. I mean, we can put signs, we can implement something like that, where we can, make sure that our residents, listen, the first complaint's going to go to the property owner. Remember, again, and it bears repeating. I mean, this isn't someone that sells projects and then it gets managed by some, company out of Kansas City. No slight on Kansas City, but the point is these guys are down the street, so to speak. So they're not going to want unhappy tenants, whether it's commercial or residential. So, we can implement some of those safeguards so that there is no person like the scenario you just gave, no resident who has their parking space taken or their 2 parking spaces if they have a 2-bedroom when they get home from work at 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
What's stopping the retail consumers from parking in the rear and the side?
So far, we haven't discussed signage, but I mean, 2 things. I mean, one is habit. Most people, if parking is available, in the front, close to the store they're going to visit, are going to go there. I mean, most people aren't going to park in the rear of the building or farther away. That would occur if it's full. I mean, if it's a busy time for the commercial, let's say, that might occur at that time, and then they maybe drive around. If that busy time occurs during the week, that parking on the south and in the rear is probably fairly vacant, or at least substantially vacant, because most folks are going to be out to work or whatever they're doing, and so it wouldn't be an issue. Look, I don't think, I mean, they don't have a restaurant idea. I'm sure they want to have a terrific, successful restaurant, and they want to have terrific, successful retail shops. I don't think they've got La Romanita 2 planned for here. I mean, I know they don't. So obviously, it would be a good problem to have, but I don't think they're anticipating a destination restaurant. This is a neighborhood retail center. Amelia District is becoming a little bit more of a destination, right? I mean, it's being built up that way, and there are other projects that they're bringing forward that you're going to see very shortly that are destined to bring in, entertainment and food and retail venues. I think this is neighborhood retail. This is residential and neighborhood retail for folks that live in this area. It's not necessarily intended. It's going to be a bakery. It's going to be a coffee shop. It's going to be things like that. You're not going to have people like, I live in Penville and I go to La Romanita, right? I mean, like it's not, I'm not going to drive to the bakery on 81st and 12th Avenue. Like that's, I think, the distinction.
Do we have a declaration of restrictions then?
We don't yet, but we're happy to memorialize some of these conditions if we want to do it that way, or make them conditions to your to any any vote, any approval ultimately at second reading. But I'm happy. I mean, if it gives more comfort, I'm happy to do both the signage, hours for when the residents will be guaranteed their parking, the 6,000 square foot commitment, the no school, some of the uses we're extricating. We're happy to include that so that you have a full covenant for consideration at second reading. That won't be an issue.
Yeah, so I live close by this, and so I could tell you that the traffic is a problem there, right? And I'm outside of the radius, but
yeah, thank goodness. I think last time we figured out by another 500
that
feet,
out.
we
Yeah,
would have lost quorum.
we did. Yeah. So it's it's something that I see every day. So if we could, I'm okay with pushing this forward as long as there's some sort of declaration of restrictions. So Lorena, how would we go about that?
Why would you say that word? Seriously. Like, I mean, come on, have a little faith. No, I mean, we're obviously old pros at working with Lorena and David and their team. We'll have a draft to you by tomorrow. You know. Right. Yeah, we've said, medical offices, I had to mention. No medical offices, no schools, a limitation on the total square footage that we'll have for restaurants. The parking signage to ensure and hours that parking will absolutely always be available for residents. So to the extent that we might make it available for shared parking purposes, you know, at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, it's very different than, you know, if you get home at 7:30 or 6:30 in the evening and you want to park and go upstairs and, you know, take your suit off after a long day. So I get that. We'll include all of that. You know, we can make that commitment now, but it'll be in the declaration. We'll have a draft to you tomorrow.
So Lorena, I'd like to see that before second reading.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get it, I'd like to see it.
Be happy. And we'll send it concurrently to Deborah to make sure that, you know, obviously some of these things that we've been discussing with her are included.
I mean, is that a problem? But we can table this, and if that's what it takes to see it before the next meeting. What do you suggest?
I think we can get it done before the next meeting. I've got great confidence in this. 2 weeks and you know, a lot of hours between now and then. I mean, you can always table it at second reading, right? I mean, you know, no action you take is official until second reading. So really, you know, give us a shot to get it done in 2 weeks. And if we can't get it done, we can't get it done. But, you know, why, if we table it now, we're just admitting we can't get it done. And frankly, you know what's going to happen? Because inertia and human nature are where they are. You know, none of us are going to work quite as fast, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way life goes.
So if we can't get it done, so I want to understand this. If we can't get it done, is it because it's on you, or is it because is it on legal?
Oh, it would always be on me. Come on now. Did you really think that I was going to fight for that? Right. No, listen, we work incredibly well.
So you can get it. So you can get it by tomorrow.
I can have a draft to Lorena by tomorrow. I think she'd like to review it with Deborah and get you something final, but I'm going to leave that between you guys. I mean, you're her client, so you guys can figure that out. I will have a draft to Lorena by tomorrow. I give you my word.
I'd appreciate it if you give us an opportunity to discuss it with staff. I think it's just not as easy as reciting a few of those uses. We've got to look at the commercial districts and understand what are similar uses and try to
Fair enough.
draft those in. So, you know, to make it as representative of the limitations that they're proffering and that you're willing to accept.
All right. So you can get it to us by tomorrow.
Yeah, the draft.
Yeah. Of the declaration of restrictions.
Draft declaration. I promise.
Hold you to it.
Not a problem. I'll be calling Alex on the way out. So. We got a good team.
Call everybody. All right.
We got a good team. Now we'll have a draft to Lorena by tomorrow, and Deborah. We'll send it concurrently to both of you so that you can start looking at it, and then I'll let them figure out how quickly and we can get to the point where they can provide it to you. Like I said, I don't want to be a part of that because I know that Madam Attorney, you know, needs a chance to take a look at it.
So just a heads up for whoever's listening and for you. So I'm going to review this, and so if there are changes that need to be made to that, I'll bring it up at the next meeting. Then, since we're not going to table it now, we'll bring it up then, and then we'll take it from there.
Fair enough. Hopefully, there are minor changes we can make there, and if at that point there's something we've got to cross and a bridge we got to cross, it's not going to be the first application I ever table. But I think we've got a shot to get it done in 2 weeks. Let's try.
Yeah. All right.
I just hate to have all these drafts exchanged because let's not forget that, you know, you've got colleagues on the board trying to have the same information that the public is also entitled to. So if we're going to start exchanging draft, I'd say let's submit it to the clerk and the clerk distribute it as part of the record. And it's going to get kind of muddied in the, you know, in that sense, because we're not all going to be aware of what the final draft unless we.
No. So you thought I was? What would you think I was saying?
No, that we would just share the draft, the proposal with you.
Yeah.
And so to the extent
I I wasn't foreclosing anyone else asking you to share it with them. I just.
No, to the extent that we need to use the clerk in order to distribute that information, I'm just suggesting that until staff and the applicant have had an opportunity at least to have an understanding, a common understanding of what may be acceptable to staff and present to the board, that we're just going to be submitting a lot of drafts.
Got it.
Why don't we put it this way? Give us until Tuesday next week and we'll have a final draft. And then you'll have it under consideration and we can come back on the second reading and have a discussion about it.
All right. So this is what I'll propose, just to be on the same page here. I'm going to propose we table this, okay, till the next meeting. And I hope we have everything ready to go by then. And then we'll review it. So that's what I propose, and we'll take it from there. I think it's fair. I think this is an area that we've seen a lot of high traffic volume in this particular area with HML and with the single family home area. A lot of multifamily south of HML as well. You have Miami Lakes on the other side of the Gratney. So I want to make sure we do. If we do this, I want to make sure we do it right. All right. So I move to table so we can have more time to look at the declaration of restrictions and then have a better conversation at the next meeting.
We have a motion to table. Do we have a second to table this item?
Second.
We have a second to table this item. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez? She has abstained. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
No.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is tabled until October 25th, 2022.
Thank you all.
Thank
See
you,
at
sir.
least 2 more times.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Hugo.
PZ 8, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, Section 98-181, to allow a kindergarten grade elementary school with an enrollment of 7 students within a facility that also includes a daycare with an enrollment of 29 children. Property located at 4305 East 8th Avenue, Bays A and B, Hialeah Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
PZ 8 is on first reading, not open for public discussion, but certainly open for discussion in the dais or pleasure of the council. We don't have any company representative, the petitioner here, right? Deborah? No. Okay. In case anybody had any questions.
Chair.
Was that you, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, Deborah, if you can just go over the project, I guess, generally.
Can you bring the mic down, Deborah, so we can get it on the record a little bit? Thank you. Thank you.
This is a shopping center that doesn't have too much activity, and in the past, kindergarten was part of the nursery school. It was not part of the school, and this is what started all our problems. That we would at the beginning allow them to have kindergarten, and they would get the educational license, and then they will continue first grade, second grade. You realize you have their middle school. So that's why they are required to come here. It's the same number of students that they had for a couple of years in the daycare, and now they are assigning one of the classes to 7 students in kindergarten.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, my concern is the concern I've had in the past, which is kind of opening the door here for them to expand, for first grade and then for second grade.
Well, that's why they have the CUP. This CUP comes with the declaration of restrictions, and it's only for this kindergarten with 7 students. If they want to have first grade, they will need to come here and to
Right. Yeah, but tomorrow we have a different council, or in 5 years or in 10 years. I mean, I'm just looking at the building now and its use, and it looks like there's a security school, to learn to be a security.
Let me take a look at it.
There's a pediatric center, there's a doctor's office, and then there's going to be a kindergarten school.
But there is already a school, daycare.
There's a daycare.
Yeah.
Right, but a daycare and a shopping center is not
uncommon, but now we're getting into now school-age children, right?
Well, kindergarten. When I went to kindergarten, that was part of the nursery school, was not elementary school. Now it's elementary school.
Yeah, I was in elementary from pre-K on North Twin Lakes. Yeah, yeah, it's also on Lejeune. So how is it going to work with the traffic coming in and out? I mean, obviously, we're talking about 7 kids. My fear is just with all these restrictions and all that. I mean, who goes to say that they don't have an 8th kid or a 9th or a 10th or a 20th? You know, like.
That I cannot tell you.
How do we I'm sorry, Councilman, through the chair. How do we
Are you done?
enforce
Are you done,
that?
sir?
We don't
I'm sorry.
oversee,
Okay, yeah.
we don't oversee that, but children and family, they are supposed to oversee that because they have a certain amount, an area that they need. I think it's 25 square feet for elementary school kids, and then 35 feet for nursery school. So they are the ones that go and control. If they go there and they see 100 students, they will know. And if we realize that there is a parking problem, we will also go and see what is happening. Many times the business tax receipt department, when we have complaints of this sort, they go and they inspect the property and they see what is happening.
And I'm sorry, just to kind of, on going off of what the councilman asked. So, are these folks the owners of the property?
No.
No, they're not. So yeah, so today they can say, that they're asking for a CPU or CUP for kindergarten, and then next year, to move along with the lives, they can request to also expand to 1st grade.
Well, yes, they will come here. You will have the recommendation that will explain the whole history, and there you decide. This is the top. This is where it ends.
What's the square footage on this property?
Let me check.
Well, on this specific unit?
$2,154 square feet. 2,000 square feet.
2,000 square feet.
Yes.
My house is 2,200 square feet. And so how many students they want in here?
They want 29 children in the daycare and 7 in the.
Wow. The party. Okay.
I mean, through the chair. Yes, sir. I just think as a matter of policy, right, like you have to draw the line in the sand. And that could be any grade. It could be, we allow these all the way to 3rd grade. We allow these all the way to 5th grade or high school or some of the petitions we've gotten. For me, my personal view on this is the line in the sand should be daycares. I think daycares are fine. And I think anything above daycare age children, when you start getting into these grade schools, we have great public schools, quite frankly, or we have great private options, charter options with nice institutions and these little shopping centers. I mean, I get they're trying to provide a service and they're a business and all, what have you. Unfortunately, they're not here to advocate for their position. And that's a little telling as to how they plan to manage this in the future if they're not here to, so we can go back and forth with them. That's where I'm at. I'm at.
So just through the chair, just on that note, Deborah, I mean, I concur with the councilman and also not to say that we can't have these schools, right? I mean, I do believe though, if it was a standalone building, right, how we've seen in the past, I think we approved one not too long ago that was on 21st and 4th. That was a standalone building. I agree with that. I believe Council President Zogby was also in favor of that one. We were all in favor of that one. But when we see these small ones that are next to a barbershop or a liquor store, or I don't know, right? Where there's just, one of these things, there is a concern. And we have to also determine what the quality of that education is, right? I think I agree, and maybe it's a bigger overarching policy that we need to look at and say, it's a council decision to only approve this specific guideline. But I agree. I agree. So, Councilman,
Yeah, motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny from Councilman Calvo, and we have a second from Councilman Luis Rodriguez. Please call the roll on the motion to deny.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez is away. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is denied.
This dies here completely, right, Madam Attorney, for at least for a year for these petitioners, right? Okay, very good. PZ 9, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance approving a final plat of Snake Sun, accepting all dedication of avenues, streets, roads, or other public ways, together with all existing and future planting of trees, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. Property located at 10300 Northwest 142nd Street, Hialeah, Florida.
PZ 9 is on first reading. Not open for public discussion, but pleasure of the council on PC 9.
A motion.
Motion from Councilman Tundidor on PC 9.
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Garcia Rovez. Please call the roll.
Ms. Perez is away. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for October 25th, 2022.
Does she need to be advised that?
Excuse me, you're looking
So
straight
she came back, but she stepped away.
Oh,
again.
okay.
Yeah.
LU1, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from residential office to commercial property located at 3375 West Fourth Avenue, Hialeah, zoned RO residential office, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
LU1 is on second reading, open for public discussion. It is a public hearing. Having none, pleasure of the council on LU1.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Rodriguez, second from Councilman Tundidor. Please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
And Ms. Perez is still away. Motion carries. The item is approved.
So funny, I got Caesar in the middle of the screen.
Thank you very much.
You're not done yet. Thank you, sir.
He's right there looking at me.
LU2, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from low density residential to commercial property located at 374 West 34th Street, Hialeah, zoned R1, one family district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
LU2 is on second reading, open for public discussion, if any. Having none, pleasure of the council. We have a motion from Councilman Rodriguez.
Second.
Second from Councilman Tundidor. And please call the roll.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez is away. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, Caesar. Good night. Can we adjourn without Ms. Perez's vote? If she's still here, we can still adjourn. So do we have a unanimous motion to adjourn at 8:42? Is that a yes?
Yes, yes.
Our council meeting for October 11, 2022 is now adjourned at 8:42 PM.